Hello everybody, and thanks for joining me. This is a demonstration of a route I've been building for about 3.5 years. It's the Whitby to Pickering Heritage Line, otherwise known as the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. In this demonstration we'll start off at Pickering and we'll have a ride through on Sir Nigel Gresley up to Grosmont. I've completed the scenery all the way through to just north of Goathland, a place called Darnholm, but for the demonstration we'll go all the way through to Grosmont. I wanted to show you that this track is complete and a bit of the signalling, and also test some AI at the end of the scenario just to make sure it worked properly. Let's get on with this and see where we get to. Welcome to Pickering, gateway to the North Yorkshire Moors. Today you are in charge of Sir Nigel Gresley on her return trip to Grosmont. It's a busy schedule, so try and stay on time. You are due to depart Pickering at 12 o'clock. Uncouple and move the locomotive into the head shunt before changing the points to move around the train via platform 2. Okay, I've actually generated a bit of time at the beginning of the scenario to have a quick look around Pickering. These are the first models I ever made for a 3D simulation. So I have actually learned a lot since making these models, and probably need to go back and have another go. So we've got the bank on the corner and the car park, and the tea room there makes very nice jacket potatoes. I usually have one of those when I go to visit Pickering. Over the bridge to the War Memorial. I've made that quite high def, and then we've got Beck Museum, and a quick jump over the roofs, and I'll show you the back way out of Pickering from platform 2. The textures on some of the signs need looking at as well. They're not high def enough for my liking. So we're moving now towards the car park. We've got the coach works, I think one of them's called the Atkins building, the water tower, through the car park towards the scout hut, which is the green hut at the end there. There's a scout hut, and then we've also got the fishing lake, which you'll probably see more of in a minute, across the crossing. So like I said, hopefully there's a few places around that people who've been to Pickering would actually recognise. It's the old Lumley and Sons works. So let's actually get some movement. My train driving skills aren't very good, so I hope you will forgive me. We'll see where we can get to. I'm sure we'll be speeding at some point. So we'll move this into the head shunt. It's quite a short head shunt, so you've got to get quite close to the buffers. The station roof here I'm going to redo because the polygon count is very high. It's actually the frames per second isn't very good at Pickering at the minute, but it's something I can play with and get a lot better, I'm sure. I'll just jump down and change the points. Hopefully most of the signals are fairly authentic. If anybody sees anything that's not quite right, if they can let me know so I can change it. Some of the signals, the semaphore signals, use scripts from Matt Peddlestons that I've adapted, and the light signals are adapted from the Railworks default signals. They will work with the default signals as well, but I had to adapt them to allow them to work with some of the theatre signals that I've got that I've built for the line, and you'll see some of those in a minute. So we'll just make our way down platform 2. I'm still having a few problems with people walking across the platform onto the rails. I'm hoping that can be fixed before it gets released. So you'll see just as we come around this corner one of the theatre signals that I've made that works with any of my lights that will come with the route, and any of the signals, including the semaphore signals as well. So as you can see just here, this is the theatre signal we're talking about. Just as we make our way down here, you'll also notice the shunter on at the back there. That's my first attempt at a locomotion for TrainSim. It doesn't actually do anything yet, it just sits there, and it still needs an awful lot of texture in doing, but that's my spare time project. When I get fed up with the route, I go and play with that. Just go down far enough to get over the points so that we can move back onto the coaches on platform 1. Just need to move it forward a bit more there. Okay, so that's for approval, and now we can move back onto platform 1. Again, you can see a theatre signal there that works quite happily with that ground signal. It's the same theatre signal all the way through, it just you can add it to whichever signal you want to. Crashing into the coaches. These signals up here are RA indicators. I did have them working so that when the train started moving off they lit up, but it didn't really, that wasn't really prototypical, so I've disabled them for now, and then at some point I need to have another think and see whether I can work out how to make those work properly. Just while we're doing this, anybody who wants to create scenarios for TrainSim, Matt Peddlestons has done a few excellent tutorials. It's basically where I learned how to do this. They're on YouTube. He has a Twitch session broadcast each weekday night, about 9:30, where you can actually see him playing on TrainSim. Worth a look if you haven't already done it. Okay, remember that High Mills Crossing doesn't have barriers, so watch out for vehicles crossing when they shouldn't. The speed limit over the crossing is 5 miles an hour. the nameplate down here probably needs doing again. It's looking very clean love the sound, haven't you? All the crossings you'll see on the route are self-made. Basically, the little white flashing light that you just saw doesn't come with the default ones, so it was something I wanted to add. Moving down past the fishing lake. The red telephone box that you'll see in a minute on the island is there. Probably not as clean as that, and I've absolutely no idea why it's there, but they're all the same. So it does into the bottle. The first signal we'll come to. It's pretty much always yellow. It's pretty much always yellow. The next signal down the track covers Newbridge crossing, which is red until the crossing closes. So pretty much all the time you come down to that, this one is yellow. And again, it's got a theatre indicator that works alongside it. To the overflow car park for the railway. So 5 miles an hour over the crossing. So the building there is part of the fish farm. Five miles an hour is so slow, isn't it? So we've got some more buildings there. Signal down the line is red as we're waiting for the crossing to shut. For those of you who've seen videos of the crossing before, I'll show you again in a minute. The crossing man is animated, which took a bit of doing. So as we can see here, the crossing is closing. If you look in the signal box, you'll see the man move away from the wheel, and he comes down the steps and then goes and waits on the pedestal there until the train comes past for him to pass the token over. So we've got a green light now, the crossing is shut to traffic. Some of the do this. Remember to slow down so you can pick up the token for the next part of the journey. Signal man is waiting. The scenery here does actually need a bit more doing to it. Probably about 2 or 3 years ago since I did it, and the houses to the right hand side of the track I still haven't managed to get enough pictures of. I'll be doing that shortly. So just start to slow down for the signalman. So you can see the garden there of the house, the signal box. You have now received the token and are now cleared television. I did wonder whether to do the internal workings of the signal box. I haven't done yet, but I might do in the future. So we're making our way down to Newbridge Works. In the scenario, there's probably not enough happening, not enough clutter around, but something we can work on for later. So you can see the main building of the works, and then there's the inspection pit just to the right of the building. And then there's farm buildings behind that. That's the last light signal. It's semaphore from here on in. So I'll just have a quick look around the farm buildings and then the road that runs alongside the railway. The signal here, the repeater signal, this is actually the first signal I ever built and got working. Again, using some of Mark Brinton's scripts, just adapted slightly so that they'll one, work the theatre indicators, and two, work also with the line signals that so coming up to reduced speed limit, 15 miles an hour. So as we move further down the line, you'll probably see the scenery get a bit better. Definitely improved as I got wet along the line, so at some point I probably need to go back and have a look at the scenery further back towards Pickering. Just about got to 15 miles an hour in time. Again, please don't judge me on my expertise in driving this engine, because I have none. So the next place of interest is Farworth, which is to get to on foot is down quite a long hill, which is okay for coming down, but we have to go back up. Just get the heart pounding. One thing I have noticed for this route is you have to keep an eye on the water for the engine. On more than one occasion I've actually run out of water, which obviously ends the scenario. So we're just coming up towards Farworth now, which consists of a house, or two houses, to the left, and the farm buildings and a farmhouse to the right. So there's the house at Farworth. The hill that I was talking about is this road. It's to the right hand side, going up the side of the hill there. And then we've got the farmhouse and the farm buildings. And the interesting thing to have a look at here is the water wheel. It's rusted and doesn't work, but quite interesting. So we're on the Lewisham Straight now. of us, we've got a distance signal, which I believe is fixed, to an outer and inner home, and then a starting signal at the end of the platform. So we're just on the approach to Lewisham. So the outer home is clear. Still waiting for the inner home to clear. The inner home's going to be acting like a yellow signal, and because the next signal is danger, that'll clear as we approach it. There we go. So it's 5 miles an hour once we actually get to the platform. Class coming the other way. Must be a steam festival. So the barriers on the crossing here, the whaler sounds for a minute as the gate comes down, and then it shuts off, which is, I believe, pretty much how it works. So those of you who have been following me on UKTrainsim will know that I built the camping carriage there. And then also this carriage at the end, which looks like something out of Thomas the Tank Engine, but it is there, so we built it. Then there's the large stately home, and a couple of cottages next to the down platform. Obviously the signal box. And then the main buildings, I think there's an art studio at the end there. The next part of your journey takes you up onto the moors. Be careful as you approach Newtondale Halt. This is a request stop, and while nobody on the train has requested the stop, there may be someone on the platform. So it's 5 miles an hour until we clear the platform. Again, it's important to keep the water filled up. And also it's important to keep an eye on the pressure as well. Got the 1 in 49 going this way as well as coming up the hill from Grosmont, so you've got to make sure you've got the pressure there. So the next buildings on the left, just after the corner, are the players' cottages. I believe you can rent out as holiday homes now. I was quite pleased with the way the telegraph poles and the wires turned out. It took quite a long time to get everything lined up, but I think they do look pretty authentic. So there are a couple of hidden models on the route. One of them is Skelton's Tower, which is up on the hill to the right of us. It is a landmark that people who visit the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, certainly the photographers, I've seen quite a few pictures taken from there, so I wanted to make sure that went in. Got a good view down the track from the top of the hill. Speeding again. So this is Skelton's Tower. It's somewhere I've never actually been. It's just been done from photographs that I've seen on Google. So we're into the 1 in 49 up towards Newtondale Halt. There's the remains of a signal box up here to the right, just before the farm. So I made sure I modelled that, put that in there as well. Ruins are just there to the right. And then to the farmhouse just before we start slowing down for Newtondale Halt. So we'll slow down and see if there's anybody on the platform. Of course they may want to go the other way, in which case I won't be stopping. Seem that bothered, does it? There are no requests to stop here, so you may continue. The sound of a steam engine pulling out of Newtondale Halt is quite immense, the way it rattles around the valley. I've made the track into tunnel track, but it still doesn't really vibrate around like I want it to, so I'm going to have to play around with that. So I didn't really get a chance to have a look at Newtondale, so a quick look. Beware of Adder's sign, didn't see any when I was there, but they've obviously had a few. So we're continuing to climb the hill up towards the summit, which is just before Goathland, and then from the summit it's all downhill to the famous 1 in 49 between Goathland and Grosmont. So just whistling there as we approach the footpath that crosses the line. It's quite a nice walk from Newtondale Halt up to the main road at the top of the hill. Crosses the track just in front of us and over the footbridge and up the side of the wood and the forest. It really is one of those dark forests where nothing grows inside. It's quite eerie. Increase speed back up to 25mph line speed. So as we come to this part of the line, you can see you can still see the second track bed where it used to be a double line. The gate here, I remember seeing a really old video of the North Yorkshire Moors Railway where I think it was the first run just after it had closed, been bought by the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. There was a gate across the line and they had to stop the train and open the gate to get through it. So we're going up to Carter's house, which is a ruin. It's another place I've never actually got to myself, but thanks to some very friendly members of UKTrainsim.com, I've got quite a few good photographs of it. Tomo79 done a sterling effort with his camera while he's been working on the line up there. It's just up here on the left, covered by the trees, but we'll have a quick look at it. So we're just approaching another popular photograph location. It's quite close to the main road, this area. There's a footpath that comes down from the main road. You very often see people set up with the tripods on the banking to the left as it crosses the footpath. So we're up towards the summit now, and for those of you who know this area, you'll discover that I've actually missed out a building on the right hand side. I only realised it when I was actually making this video, so I need to go back and do that. And then you've got the old summit signal box there that I've actually remembered to model. Now the other thing that's very prominent on the landscape in this area is Filing Dale's RAF early warning system, which I've also modelled because it's so prominent on the landscape. It's given me a few problems in the fact that you can see it quite clearly from here. In real life you can also see it from Goathland station, but because TrainSim only allows you to view things at a certain distance, I can't actually make it show up at Goathland, so If anybody knows a way around that, I'd like to hear. So this is the location, you can see it over on the distance in the haze. Coming up to Moorgates, 3 bridges, got the river bridge to the right there, there's the railway bridge itself, and then behind the cameras the bridge belonging to the old railway. That's the bridge is still there, but the line's not used obviously. And then Moorgates house on the top there. Next building's on the left, Saddler's house. So this is the 15 miles an hour speed limit that I think is now a permanent one, not just a temporary one. And then as we continue down the hill, come down towards Abbott's house, which also has the out of home signal for Goathland station. So we're after the 15 miles an hour speed limit, however I don't want to speed up too much here. The next 2 signals work as an approach signal, or approach signals. While we're talking about signals, I'd like to thank Stu Twinkle on UKTrainsim. He's given me a lot of advice about the signals on North Yorkshire Moors Railway and how they actually work. So this is Abbott's. It's a small farm, but mainly a camping and caravan site, or just a caravan site actually, I believe. So again, the next signal bank is approach control, and there's actually, it's not showing up on the head-up display, but there's actually a 10 mile an hour speed limit as well, just coming up now actually. Not quite sure why that's not showing up on the head-up display at the minute. Probably saw them at Lewisham as well, but there's a fog burner soot on the left hand side there. So we're just waiting for the signal to clear us into the down platform. Hoping it'll do shortly. Here we go. So 5 miles an hour from the points all the way through the station. So there are a couple of small buildings missing from behind the water tower. And also the water cranes are also missing. They were missing at Pickering as well. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to use somebody else's or whether I'm going to model the water cranes myself. The signal here at the end of platform, the down platform, is signal 19. That won't clear until you've actually stopped at the platform, even if there's nothing coming the other way. It's one of the rules of the line apparently. The train's got to be stopped before it can clear. In this case we should have a train coming up the other way, hopefully. Yeah, there it is. And there again we've got people stood on the line. How annoying. Try not to spad the signal. So this is Goathland, and there's Black 5. Old favourite of North Yorkshire Moors. Hopefully the station's fairly recognisable. One of my favourite houses, in fact two of my favourite houses right next to each other. I quite fancy both of them. Then further up the hill, I'm sure most people probably know this is where Heartbeat, I think it was the 90s or or the late 80s television programme. It still has Aidensfield Arms as a sign on the pub, and the Scripps funeral services. I've not got very far with Goathland. I do intend to go down to the bottom end of the street there. Wait for the signal to clear, and then you are on the last leg towards Grosmont. Keeping to the speed limit down the 1 in 49 hill will test your skills on the brake lever. The speed limit is 5 miles an hour until you clear the station. Let's see how we can keep to this 5 miles an hour down the hill. So down the hill to the first overbridge has got scenery, a place called Darnholme, and then from then down to Grosmont, the only thing that's been done is the track's been laid and the river's been laid, and landscaping been done in a very basic way. And you'll also see I've actually started building some of the models for Grosmont sheds. There's no texturing on them yet, but you'll see the sheds in place. So the back of the train's now cleared the points, so we start to increase down the hill. When we get to Grosmont, I've just made a little bit of AI traffic, picking up some coaches from the station and heading off back up the hill, just to check that it does work. This is Darnholme. We go under the viaduct bridge, and then that's the end of the scenery for now. So it's 25 miles an hour down the hill, except for a short period of 20 miles an hour until we get to Grosmont sheds. As we get towards Grosmont, you'll see that some of the signalling's been done. A lot of the signalling has been done for going down the hill, but still got quite a bit to do coming up the hill. And then there's the gantry at the end of the platforms onto the sidings at Grosmont that also needs building yet. Up to the 20 mile an hour section. So I'm not sure how long it'll take to complete the scenery down to Grosmont. Keep thinking I know when I'm going to finish, and then I go slow for some reason, and my time limits all change, so it'll be done when it's done. So you can see the white areas ahead of us. They're buildings that I'm playing with that I haven't textured yet. Basically just put them into the scenery just to see how they're going to look, and then texture them later. So those buildings ahead of us are some houses in the Esk Valley. And then the building off to the left on its own is a small chapel, I believe. Just a couple of minutes now until we get to Grosmont. These are the houses of the Esk Valley. You can actually walk from Grosmont all the way to Goathland, takes you past these houses. So this is the out to home. Anybody who knows the signalling around here will know that there's a fixed distance signal that's missing off the bottom of that. And then the next signal is basically completely scripted by me, rewritten, because it has to work alongside the next signal down the line. It actually takes its instructions from the next signal. You also see the sheds coming up, again untextured at the minute, and you'll notice there's a signal missing off there for going up the hill. So this is one of the engines I want to, this is one of my AI engines that I want to get moving. It's a controversial engine that I hope to see in Steam at some point this year. I do quite like it, even though a lot of people don't. You never know, they might even test it on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. So coming down to the tunnel, the signal in front of us just before the tunnel is a repeater of the one at the end of the tunnel. And again a theatre indicator on the next signal, which is just a normal theatre indicator that I've made that works with all the signals. Showing we're routed onto platform 2. So the signals on platform 2 not far off. The signals on 3 and 4 are just there for temporary measure at the minute. They bear no resemblance to what's actually there in real life. Here's a Scotsman getting himself into position. So coming towards the end of our journey, we'll finish at platform 2, and then we'll watch the Scotsman and Tornado there move around a little bit. The platforms obviously haven't even been looked at Goathland yet. Sorry, Grosmont. Platforms in place here are just temporary at the minute. So we're going to have a quick look at the Flying Scotsman coming back down the line. He's going to couple up to the coaches on platform 3 and then move off back up the hill, and then Tornado will move down the shed line. Coupling AI trains to rolling stock works, providing the rolling stock doesn't move at all from the start of the scenario. So you can't have our train come in, uncouple, and then an AI train come and couple up to it and take that out back up the line, unfortunately, at the minute. So just while we're watching this, if you want to come and join the discussion about the route on UKTrainsim, I'll put the link below. It'd be very nice to hear your thoughts on the route, and also if there's any things that you think aren't quite right. And also have a look at Matt Peddlestons' Twitch stream, weekday nights, 9:30. A lot of insight into train sim, and if you've got any questions, he usually tries to answer them. So we'll just watch Scotsman disappear and then Tornado run back to the sheds, and then that'll be the end of the scenario. Well done, driver, you have reached your destination. That's always a good thing. Thank you very much for watching. and hopefully we'll see you again when I've actually finished the route.